to be there on Wednesday night. I'm hoping more of you guys listening are going to be there because, like I said, right now we're such a lousy pro wrestling town. Show isn't selling very well. I think it's going to be a fun show. Well, all right. So here, look, let's pretend, Joey, we're running out of time. All right, now it's not the end of our show. We're still going to do WWE here, but we're running out of time, and I'm watching at home, and I got to know what's coming up here on Dynamite. So give me your best Excalibur where we're rushing through next
All
week's
right.
card.
All right. I got to get my breath ready for this because there are
Yeah.
a lot of matches announced. So I just got to. All right. This week on a loaded edition of AEW Dynamite, just 1 week after making a deal with the devil, Sammy Guevara advances in the Four Pillars tournament to face Darby Allin. And then Orange Cassidy, the hottest male wrestler on the AEW roster, defends his AEW International Championship against Bandito. Also, we have Jade Cargill putting her undefeated streak on the line against Taya Valkyrie and the TBS Championship. And then 1 week after saving the Elite, Konesuke Takeshita teams with Kenny Omega to face the Butcher and the Blade in a tag team match. Also, 1 week after teaming up to defend the honor of Mark Briscoe, Dax Harwood faces Jeff Jarrett in a random match. Also, 1 week after learning how to play chess from Arn Anderson and winning the TNT title, we will hear from Wardlow live. Also, 1 week after being attacked by Chris Jericho and the Outcasts, we will get a response from Adam Cole about them beating up him and his girlfriend. And then finally, we will hear from the CEO of All Elite Wrestling, Tony Khan, live for a big announcement.
My favorite part were the couple of individual pauses where
Yeah,
Excalibur is gathering himself.
I was reading a very small graphic with all the matches, so I got caught up. I didn't know
Okay,
which order I wanted to go in either.
all right, so I was too caught up in enjoying your Excalibur impression. So a little bit slower here. Give me the run through.
We got Sammy versus Darby in the
All right,
Pillars
I'm
tournament.
excited for that. Yep, is that the
Orange,
main event? Got to be.
um, yeah, it looks like it.
Got to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Orange Cassidy versus Bandito for the international championship.
Okay. I could see that opening the show. All right.
Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie,
I'm into that. Yep.
which is that's an interesting one actually.
Yep.
Um, Kenny Omega and Takeshita versus Butcher and the Blade.
Okay. I wonder who's going to win.
Uh, Dax Harwood versus Jeff Jarrett in a singles match.
I got Jeff Jarrett on my show this week on Zaslow Show 2.0.
That'll be good.
He's
I
always
bet you.
great. He's a big
Yeah,
sports fan too.
yeah. Um, and then we will hear from Adam Cole. We will hear from Wardlow, and we will hear from Tony Khan.
Oh, is it another big announcement? Why are we hearing from Tony Khan?
I don't know. Hopefully, he either has his teleprompter slowed down a little bit, or somebody just does it for him.
Okay. All right. I mean, I feel like you just gave us the whole show. It's only a 2-hour show.
That's what I'm saying. That's why when you texted me earlier, I was like, I think the whole show's already been
Yeah,
announced.
that sounds like the whole show. All
Yeah,
right. All
yeah,
right. That's going to be fun. I'm
yeah.
into it, man. I'm excited about it. So Dynamite and Sunrise this week, and they're taping Rampage, and I'm going to have the Panther game on my phone as we're sitting ringside. It is what it
All
is.
right.
It
Yeah,
is what it is, man.
gotta do what you got to do.
All right. So let's get to WWE here. Let me start out with a couple things from Raw that I wanted to get to. So I love when they do this, man, and it doesn't happen often, but when you have the big, strong heel faction and they got beef with the other big, strong heel faction.
Mhm.
Now they don't have beef because there's some type of arrangement, that Paul
Right.
Heyman and Roman Reigns made. But the whole, you got the bloodline right here, you got Judgment Day right here. Damian Priest is kind of, doing the bidding, like he's shaking hands with Paul Heyman. He understands. But the whole Rhea staring down Solo is so well done. And
Mhm.
then, and Paul sees this and asks Solo to come stand over here. And then Rhea moves so that they could still stare at each other. Uh, that was good shit, man.
That was fun. That was fun. I thought of all the people, like I could see Rhea fighting an intergender match,
I know, but I don't need it.
but
Like
I'm just saying but
the women they're so, it's not like China where you need someone she can match up with. There's so many amazing female
well,
wrestlers.
she did fight, didn't she? What she beat up? What's his name?
Yeah,
That
she
I
fought
really like.
what's the name? Akira Tozawa.
Akira Tozawa. Yeah, but
Like you want to do
but
that
I
as
was
a
saying
one-off, fine. But
right.
I
But
don't
I was
need her
gonna
fighting men.
right because I'm saying like, but also like of all the people, it ain't gonna be Solo. Like they're not gonna put. I mean, clearly they're building Solo to something big, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be fighting Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
But it was a fun moment. But to me, the best moment,
I think
and
I think by the way, just the whole idea there was we know Solo's the enforcer of the bloodline, and guess what? She's the enforcer for Judgment Day. That's what it was.
But he probably may not have noticed it live. I'm assuming most people didn't notice it live. When Heyman shakes Priest's hand, Finn Balor's not happy about this.
Really?
Finn Balor's looking at it like, what? You got to go back. Some people.
Oh, right. But I thought that was just because like he doesn't love there being an arrangement.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. Is that Finn? But like,
I don't think Rhea liked it either. I mean, when they asked Rhea, "Are you good for now?"
But also, I feel like this goes back a little bit to my whole like, Finn may not be in Judgment Day much longer because he's supposed to be the leader of the group, but Damian Priest is making deals with Paul Heyman, and Finn's sort of looking at it like, what? There's a deal? We're shaking hands? Like, no. But so I thought that was an interesting part too. And I love everything about this. Is the one thing I can genuinely say right now about WWE in this holding pattern. Everything about Bloodline, Judgment Day, LWO, even KO and Sammy and Riddle being involved in some way. And this whole thing is very good. Yeah. I like all these guys interacting with
I think they're doing a really good job, in this holding pattern until Roman's back, and until we really get to the meat of the Brock and Cody stuff, I think this is good stuff holding us over. I think they're doing a really good job.
I do too. And I think it could lead to, I mean, it can't be War Games because War Games is usually 5-on-5.
And it's in
but November. Also it's like, well, I guess, but also is it like, it's not a War Games is not a pay-per-view. So it could,
I think War Games is a Survivor Series staple now.
Could be.
I think that's what it is now.
But Triple H did say, certain matches, their attraction, their blow off, like it could be.
Yeah, but Survivor Series at its core is supposed to be teams.
Right. But there's supposed to be a survivor. So like War Games, there's no survivor, but I'm just saying, I guess my point is these three, and I guess if you consider like KO, Sammy, and Riddle right now, if you consider them like a sort of a little group, and plus Cody will be back helping them at some point when he's done with Brock.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something's got to be coming, right? Like some type of like 4-way or 3-way match. I don't know if it's in a cage. I don't know if it's War Games. I don't know what.
Is Backlash this week? Next weekend?
It's the weekend of the 5th.
So 2 weeks. We're in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
This week is the tag title match on SmackDown.
Right. Again, they're so finally we're acknowledging that the Usos don't have the tag titles anymore and they want them back.
Yeah, well, but the thing is that
they 3 weeks.
In their promo last night on or 2 nights ago on SmackDown, they said they're like, what do you want us to they basically said like, what do you want us to say? Everyone's asking us how we feel about losing the titles. What do you want us to say?
Yeah, well, I think what we all want is we want Roman to confront them.
Yeah, well, one of my questions. Well,
that's going to happen when the Usos lose this week, right? Or do you think they're going to win them back?
So they shouldn't win them back so quickly, but you have the Saudi shows coming up, and Sammy and KO are not going to that show.
I just hate the idea of them winning them back before Roman gets to discipline them.
Right. I that's what I was going to ask is like, how long can you keep Roman off TV? He's got both world titles.
Right. Well, I guess the draft is probably going to determine that. The draft is starting the end of next week, SmackDown and then Raw. So the draft will probably determine, what's next for Roman Reigns, right? That'll set up his next opponent too, I guess.
I think there's also people hoping that like the draft will split up the titles.
I don't think that's what's happening.
Yeah, but how could it? He has the titles. Wherever he goes, that's where the title. He's on both shows.
Well, I think people want them to make his unified title one, give him a new belt, and it's the unified title that whatever they want to call it. And then they're going to introduce a new belt on the other show. Whatever. And then they're going to introduce a new title on the other show. I don't know.
Maybe, but it feels like it already feels like I think he's only been off TV for what, 2 weeks? Or is it 3 weeks now?
Since the night after WrestleMania. So 3 weeks.
So 3 weeks? That's almost a long time for the champion to not be on TV.
Yeah.
And then Solo is it's all Solo now. So it's all about
Solo. I know you're wondering, is Solo at risk of being overexposed? Because every main event since the Raw after Mania, like the SmackDown after that, Solo's been in the main event for I think like most of those shows, right?
I
On
think
television.
at least 2 weeks. And then I think the only other match he had that wasn't a main event was the Rey Mysterio match that he won.
Right.
So was that before Mania? I don't know.
No, it was
Actually,
after.
that was before.
It was after.
Okay.
It was after.
But anyways, it's just they're putting him in very big spots very, very consistently.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it. It's just like, what is it? What's it about? It's a lot. He's in every main event.
I mean, I would tell you the reason that I don't think that he's at risk of being overexposed like this is because he's not a babyface. If he were a babyface, I think then you have the scenario where the crowd feels that you're forcing it down our throat. You're making us want to like this guy because he's a heel.
You mean like Riddle?
Yeah, maybe. But because he's a heel, I think it works. I think it's okay that he's in all these main events. Yeah. Otherwise, I think you end up getting resentment from the crowd. I'm gonna like who I want to like. Don't make me like this guy. That's not what they're trying to do with Solo.
Isn't that exactly what's happening with Riddle?
Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've brought him back. They inserted him into the hottest storyline in wrestling and made the other guys who were the hottest part of it sort of secondary to him.
Well, I think they're trying to give Riddle that rub. I think that's clearly what they're trying to do. But I also don't think Riddle belongs near the main event when he's not next to Randy Orton.
No, totally, 100%.
But they're trying to get him that rub. That's what they're doing. Yeah. They're trying to create a new star here, putting him next, and that's fine. But
they also needed a main event for Backlash.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Right.
And we'll get
or not a main event, but something for the Bloodline.
What do you make of Trish Stratus explaining her actions? The most important figure in the history of women's wrestling.
Is she wrong?
Is she wrong? I was never as high on the whole Trish Lita stuff as everyone else, or at least as they make it out to be. Like, it wasn't to me like the greatest thing. Oh my God. Like, I understand how historic it was. It's the first time ever the women main evented Raw. I understand all that. I know it was a big deal. But I don't remember watching all those matches and thinking to myself, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of revisionist history.
Well, I think she's got to say what she's got to say to be a heel, first of all. Mm-hmm. But also, I don't necessarily think she's like totally wrong. I mean, her and Lita, I would say the two of them together, but they were in an era where women didn't wrestle. Yep. They weren't even like allowed. You had to like wear bikinis and stuff. And it was like, or you had to wear like you had to do like brawn panty matches and all that stuff.
Yep.
And despite all of that, and despite how hot both of them were, like, they still were so good that they got the powers that be to allow them to actually wrestle and have these great feuds.
Right.
And I would venture to guess that a lot of these wrestlers that you watch now, and we know this.
Yep.
A lot of the female wrestlers that you watch now, if you say like, how'd you get into wrestling? I watched Lita and Trish. Mm-hmm. I watched Lita and Trish. Because I guess my question would be like, before Lita and Trish, who was a foundational women's wrestler? Medusa? Mae Young?
Yeah, I mean,
Red Robin or whatever her name was. Rockin' Robin.
Rockin' Robin. What's the matter with you? Come on, WrestleMania 1.
I don't know. Awesome Kong. Was it or no, Asia Kong, not Awesome Kong. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who. Cherry.
Sensational Sherry. You better not say anything bad about Sherry.
Did she wrestle? She wrestled though, didn't she?
Hell yeah, she was a very big deal. Hell yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Luna Vachon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'm saying like they kind of took it to the next level. And now since then, I guess you could argue Charlotte and like Becky and Sasha and like that crew, but I don't know. I don't know if she's wrong.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh because I'm fairly certain if you put on old Trish and Lita matches right now, you're going to sit there and say, wow, this is not good.
Yeah, I don't think that's, sure. But I'd say you could probably say that any women, like most women's matches.
Yeah.
I know this is going to sound bad. You could probably say that about most women's matches in WWE, like pre 2010.
Yeah.
Pre NXT.
Yeah.
Because really NXT was what started
really gave them a chance.
Gave them a chance to have these great matches, and it started the so-called, the revolution or evolution or whatever.
Yeah, and I remember reading stories about how they weren't able to use specific moves that the men use because it's not essentially ladylike.
Right.
And that of course is bullshit. Sure. And then they were eventually able to perform the way the men were.
Well, yeah, and even the women's wrestlers back then who were good, they just didn't. They weren't given time. So it's like even the Lita and Trish match. I would imagine if you go back and watch that main event from Raw, it was probably a short match. If I had to guess,
I don't know. My guess is it wasn't very good.
Yeah, but no, I guess why they were so influential is because it happened,
I get
not
it.
because of how they did. It's what they did.
I get it. I did like, though, how Trish came out looking like original OG Trish from TNA.
She looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks like she did back then, so
that's hard.
And for people who don't understand the reference, of course, TNA, Test and Albert.
Right. Yeah.
She came out in the same getup with the boobs and the hat and all of it. So I dug it. That's heel Trish right there, man.
Yeah. I don't know that I necessarily need it or even want this storyline.
Right. I think that's kind of how I feel.
I
think that's how I feel. It doesn't do a whole lot for me.
Maybe
I'll dig it once Lita comes back, and then you got, because are we setting up for Trish and Lita one-on-one again? Is that what we're doing?
I hope not. I don't need that. I definitely don't need that.
I don't need it either.
I just think Becky hasn't been great lately. And what happened to Becky? Is she like really hurt, or she have surgery? I saw her post, unless it was an old picture.
She was like, I'm not going to be at the show tonight.
Yeah, I know, but then I saw a picture of her in the hospital.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it was an old picture and maybe it was something minor, but yeah, I don't know well, I feel like it's leading to Trish and Becky, right? Which I thought was going to be at Backlash, but as of right now, I don't think. I think there's only 5 matches announced for Backlash.
What do we have for Backlash? Give me the matches. Let me hear it.
You want me to do it like Excalibur?
No.
Brock Cody. We have Rhea versus Selena for the
right. She's got to rep Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
How do they sell that match? Like, how are we going to have a moment in that match where we believe that Zelina is going to win? Because it's so not believable. How are they going to pull that off?
She's going to do a lot of like top rope
luchador stuff,
I guess. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Right. Because man, like, Zelina is tiny.
Yeah. No, she's very small. She's very small. It's
very
crazy.
small. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. The triple threat for the U.S. title. Theory,
yeah, I think that's going to be good shit. That's going to be good.
Match.
I dig that. It's going to be
good. Bloodline versus KO, Sami Zayn, and Riddle.
So 6-man there. Okay.
Not on this list, but I got to think it's already, whether it's announced or not, is Bad Bunny and Ray versus.
Isn't that announced?
It's not on this list, but I'm pretty sure it's announced.
I think it's announced. Yeah.
Bad Bunny and Ray versus Dom and Priest.
Yeah.
And then the match that we all have been waiting for. We've been This has been years in the making.
Oh, no.
I think we're going to call this match years in the making.
Oh, no.
Once in a lifetime. It's just, I don't even have enough superlatives to describe this match. Seth Rollins versus Omos.
Yeah. So how did that come about?
They just announced it on SmackDown. That's it. They have not had an interaction. They're
going to this week now. Like, they're going to have to build it up somehow.
Yeah.
Right?
The week before the match, I would think so.
Here's the thing. Like, I understand them build their, like, you got to have a giant. Every era of WWE, there's a giant. So he is now the giant right now. Fine. But he has to win sometimes, right? He never wins.
Zaz, you're not going to like this. But this is what these are, and I'm not going to put this in big dirt since we're talking about this.
Is he going to beat Seth Rollins?
There is some rumblings that he could beat Seth Rollins and fight Roman at the Saudi show. And I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding that those are rumors that are on the internet.
No way. And I'm not even saying no way to the part with him beating Rollins. I'm saying no way to the part of you can't. Who would the crowd cheer for? They're not going to cheer for Omos, and you don't want them cheering for Roman.
But who? First of all, there's only 2 people right now that legitimately that you could say have a shot at Roman at that show.
I mean,
Brock and Cody, right? The winner of Brock and Cody. But what if Cody beats Brock, but Brock beat the shit out of him so bad that he's not medically cleared to compete? Somebody else has to beat. I mean, that is a real way that match could go down.
Yep.
And then who is it? And if Seth Rollins loses to Omos, it's not going to be Seth Rollins.
I mean, I told you, I think Shinsuke is a good next opponent for him.
Yeah, but they're doing Shinsuke and Karrion Kross.
Yeah, but it's not going to last forever.
Yeah, but it's going to last for a month.
Okay.
It's not on Backlash, so I'm assuming it's going to lead to Saudi, right? I mean, by the way, they're making Shinsuke look awesome. That vignette that they played on SmackDown was great.
And he's now the king, so he's not the artist, he's the king?
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah. Like Michael Cole was introduced with this guy, who's the king? So he's the king now.
No, it was good, and I like that. Shinsuke eventually, yes, but it looks like they're doing him in Cross at least for the foreseeable future. And he said he wants to. I was watching. I know I've mentioned on here Ups and Downs, which is Simon Miller. It's a What Culture thing, and he was talking about Karrion Kross, and Karrion Kross is like, I want to take his honor, and he's like, I'm not gonna lie, sounds kind of dirty.
The one thing that I want to mention one more thing I want to mention from SmackDown a couple nights ago, it's funny to me how when people talk about the Gunther Xavier Woods match, where it's like, oh, it was a banger, what a great match. And I'm like, hold on a second. When are we just going to acknowledge that every single match Gunther is in is a banger and awesome? It doesn't matter who isn't. Like, I'm not trying to take credit away from Xavier Woods, but every single match Gunther is in is awesome. It's Gunther. He's the reason. It's Gunther. So, I mean, and the match was great, like you would expect it to be. Great match.
Yeah.
But I guess he's not on the card for Backlash. They'll save up something for him for Saudi, I suppose.
Probably Saudi. I would say the only thing in that match that I don't like, I only don't like it because of the spot, is that leg drop off the top rope. That's like a psychotic move to me. Like, I think 10 years from now, Xavier Woods not going to be able to walk.
Right. That's his move.
How do you take that move without really hurting yourself? Like, how do you land just on your ass from 20 feet in the air like that? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like weird looking moves that we see, but that one is just straight up like, even Hogan talks about how like 30 years of doing the regular leg drop messed up his back.
Yep.
And obviously Xavier Woods isn't doing that all the time, but still, that is a gnarly looking move. But everything else, great. Who do you think is, well, you want me to save it for Big Dirt? Because I got something in Big Dirt about a potential.
You can save it.
A potential thing for Gunther.
Yeah, you can save it.
But who do you think
is next for Gunther?
Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's anybody really lined up at the moment, right?
It does not. I think they're probably waiting for the draft. Waiting for the draft.
I guess a lot of things are going to depend. That's next week. That's this week, right?
Starts on Friday and then Monday. Yeah. Okay. I think we'll have a better idea once the draft happens.
Okay.
Like if he moves to Raw, it opens up more I don't know, but I think once you have the draft, we're gonna have a better understanding. Maybe it'll be Shinsuke. I want Shinsuke and Roman. Maybe it'll be Shinsuke going after Gunther.
There's a pretty obvious one because you can't keep him a heel forever because the crowd loves him too much.
LA Knight.
Yeah. Seems pretty obvious. The crowd they love LA Knight. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been on TV now for a couple shows.
Weeks.
And he has been talking about how, backstage stuff, how he's the top pick. He wants to be the champion, all that.
Has there been a funnier moment recently than last week where Emma was pumping up Madcap Moss to be the number one pick in the draft?
It's Madcap. What they got to just call him Riddick.
Be the number one pick. Number one pick. I'm
just waiting for the this segment where Corbin doesn't get drafted. That'll be good.
Is Bray Wyatt going to get drafted?
Oh my God. I don't know, man.
But that's the kind of shit where it's like, it'll bother me because we're going to finish the draft and just no one's selecting Bray Wyatt and no one's going to say anything about it.
Well, I will say one thing I was reading was that a lot of the disappointment that people had on the Raw after Mania about no NXT call-ups? Draft.
Oh yeah, no, I totally think that's what's happened. Now it doesn't mean that I think it was handled the right way, but I do think that played a part in them not doing the NXT
because
calls.
there's been multiple stories coming out about this guy's been discussed for SmackDown. Oh, you know who it could be for Gunther? And not that he should be immediately thrust into this, but there's been a lot of talk about Ilya Dragunov from NXT.
That would be awesome.
Because him and Gunther had some crazy matches.
Well, Dragunov's the one that beat him.
Yeah. Yep. So
do you think if they were to do that, like would they use the storyline that Dragunov beat him?
Yeah, I think so. Because
that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And then of course Gunther holds on to the title against him, but still, like you use that as the story. That's good shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think assuming Triple H is still in charge, if it was Vince in charge, they would never reference NXT in that way. But if it's Triple H, I think he would carry that storyline over. And I think it would be the best way to make it make sense why this guy's all of a sudden in an Intercontinental title fight. Yep. Like why is this guy who just got drafted that we don't know? Like that would build it up really well. Yeah.
All right, so before we get to Big Dirt, not a Big Dirt, my man Victor, he's got some corrections for us. Actually, it's really just one correction from last week. So remember last week when we were trying to figure out when is the last time, if ever, that WWE, WWF had brothers who were referred to as brothers, the way the Usos and Solo Sikoa are brothers, but don't share the same name.
Okay.
When was the last time this happened? And we could not remember. We couldn't think of it.
No.
So Victor said here he had to go back a really long time. And he has here Chris Champion and Mark Starr. I don't even know who these guys are. Chris Champion was a tag team specialist who later competed in WCW as Yoshi Kwan. Before that, he competed for several independent promotions along with his brother Mark Starr as a team known as the Wild Side. Together, they made it to the second round of the 1988 Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup. So I would say
as a tag team,
never happened.
Yeah. So he's saying as a tag team, they had different names, but they were referred to as brothers.
That's what he's saying. Yeah. Different names, but they were considered brothers. And by the way, remember we talked about Finn Balor, whether or not he was hurt, before. And he said here, Balor did indeed suffer a calf tear prior to WrestleMania. He was cleared, though. He suffered it March 10th, usually 6 to 8 week injury, but he rehabbed it and was able to make it back for his Mania match against
He's just a freak. He's a freak of a human. He's just ridiculous. Bart and Billy Gunn. We didn't mention them. I'm just kidding.
Good job there, though. Good job, Victor.
Yeah,
Appreciate
nice,
you looking that up for us,
man.
man.
That's a crazy stat. That's a crazy stat.
How do you find that? Joey, let's do Big Dirt, not Big Dirt. Come on, man. What do we got?
All right. So since we just talked about Gunther and Imperium, there's I don't know if it's a rumor or backstage notes, whatever they want to call them, that this could lead to a New Day versus Imperium program centered around Big E versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title when Big E comes back. Big Dirt, not Big Dirt.
That's Big Dirt. I mean, number one, it's Big Dirt. The idea that Big E is going to wrestle again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that makes it Big Dirt. Mm-hmm. And that would be a sick feud. That'd be a great match. I could see Big E as the guy who dethrones Gunther. That's believable. And if that's how they bring him back, that's a major moment. So I'll go Big Dirt.
Yeah, that would be awesome. John Hennigan, a.k.a. John Morrison, a.k.a. a million other names now going by Johnny Boxing because he just did a celebrity boxing match, was on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour. And he was asked about the sale of WWE. And he said he is very concerned that there's going to be big cuts coming up from what he's heard from people in the company and this and that. And he was talking about how happy he is that AEW is around because he's worried that he said they're already on a hiring freeze, which has been rumored, but no one I don't think has actually publicly come out and said it. He said they're in a hiring freeze and he's worried there's going to be big cuts coming. Big Dirt, not Big Dirt.
Yeah, I'm going Big Dirt. It seems that there are big cuts coming. I've seen that before. And, besides, you never want the guys behind the scenes to get laid off. That is going to happen. That sucks. And there's also going to be several superstars you would imagine. It's like, man, I can't believe they got rid of him or her. And that always sucks. But this is, look, that shows you like it's a business like every other business. And this is something that routinely happens, unfortunately, every year where there are layoffs. It sucks. So that's Big Dirt.
We didn't really talk about it a ton when the sale happened, but the more I think about it and I hear people talk about it, there is some concern to me that, they bought the UFC, and the UFC's pay structure is a joke, right? For their, especially like when you're at the top, you make money, but the guys at the bottom that are making like 10 and 10, 12 and 12, it concerns me that, that they could see this and be like, well, look at how much the UFC's grown.
Yeah, but UFC is also not a touring company.
Sure. Right. I'm not saying they're going to pay him $10,000, but they could look at it and be like, we're spending all this money for all these people. We have this other company that has 700 people on their roster and we're paying them, $10,000 each.
Right.
Try that,
right.
That could be a problem. You texted me about this earlier. Goldberg wants to go on a retirement tour. Apparently at WrestleMania weekend, Goldberg had a big meeting with some overseas promoter, and he's been going on shows and he's been doing interviews talking about how Vince promised him a retirement match and it never happened, and how he wants to have a retirement match, and now he may try to just go on a retirement tour. Big dirt.
This is not big dirt. I do not believe it would garner the reception that Goldberg believes it would. I certainly know, I mean, if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, hardcore WWE fan, you have no interest in a Goldberg retirement match. Go away. This is not big dirt.
Yes. Who's he going to fight in a retirement? I
saw somebody who wants to get hurt. That's who he would fight.
I saw somebody, it was Bischoff on his podcast, said, if Tony Khan wants to sell out Wembley, he'll do CM Punk versus Goldberg for his retirement.
I mean, the crowd would just boo him out the building.
Yeah.
It'd be ugly.
Yeah. Speaking of business deals and all that, Warner Brothers Discovery apparently is interested in the WWE TV rights when the TV deal comes up, which is interesting because Warner Brothers Discovery is who has AEW's TV deal right now.
Yeah.
They're on TBS and TNT. So it could, obviously they have a good relationship according to everything with AEW, but WWE is WWE. So I don't think WWE and AEW are going to be on the same networks.
Right.
So big dirt, not big dirt, Warner Brothers Discovery being in the mix for the WWE TV.
This is not big dirt. I don't believe it's true. This could be a negotiating ploy that someone put out there. I don't think there's truth to this. Not big dirt.
Okay. All right, last one. This isn't even dirt. This happened this morning. Mercedes Moné lost the IWGP.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Women's Championship to Maui. I don't know how you say her name. I don't know how you say her name.
Okay.
I'm just going to be honest. I don't know how you say her name.
That was very deflating for you.
Yeah, I think I had an autocorrect, too, because it says Maui here. Which
you're so upset.
Iwatani is her last name, but
right.
I'm pretty sure I auto-corrected because I don't think her name's Maui.
Okay. She's not the demigod from Moana?
No, I don't think so.
Demogod.
So, I mean, I thought this was, you tell me what you think. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but she just got the title from Kyrie. It was this whole big deal.
Right.
It's only been, I feel like a couple months. Now she doesn't have the title. But supposedly she's signed a deal to stay overseas and she's moving permanently to Japan. So I don't know, big dirt, not big dirt.
I'm going not big dirt. Not big. Like she's fine to me. Sasha Banks is entertaining, but I don't think she's as big a deal as she thinks she is. I don't think she's this massive attraction that she pretends to be. So it's not a big deal.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that. She is a massive attraction when she's here.
Yeah. When she's in WWE.
She's in WWE, or if she was in AEW, she'd be a massive attraction. She's very good. In New Japan, she's not a massive attraction. Not here, not in the US.
Right. Like Chris Jericho goes over to New Japan. It's a big fucking deal. Mercedes Moné, it's not a big deal.
And but also, Jericho's when he went there, it's like Kenny Omega, who everyone was like, Kenny Omega is the best in the world. And Jericho shows up. It's random. We knew Mercedes Moné we didn't know what was going on. Like the Jericho thing was just so shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And like, other than Kyrie, who they had a one match, now Kyrie's gone.
Right.
who are these women that she's fighting? I don't know any of these women unless
Yeah.
you're a hardcore.
But I think it's like if she was as big a deal as she thinks she is, it wouldn't matter who she's in the ring with. It would matter that she's in the ring.
Yeah,
that's
true. Yeah, if Charlotte went, it would be
it'd be a really big thing if Charlotte Flair went over to New Japan for a little bit. Yeah,
that's it though, really right? Is there? But honestly, like that's it, right? I mean, I guess Becky Lynch. Like, is there anyone else? Becky Lynch.
I mean, I think Charlotte is a much bigger deal than Becky Lynch.
Sure.
Is there anyone else? Probably not.
Rhea? Just because she would... No, I don't even think so.
No.
It'd be Charlotte.
I think it's Charlotte and a big maybe next to Becky. Becky's name.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, that's a good addition right there. Excellent job, Joey. So we're looking forward to Wednesday night. Dynamite seems like it's going to be a great show. That's Wednesday night in Sunrise. And you got the draft coming up on Friday with WWE. So if we're doing big week or not a big week, I think this is a big week in pro wrestling coming up. Yeah.
All roads lead to Puerto Rico.
Joey, tell all your fans you're going to miss them and you'll talk to them again next week. Go ahead.
Well, maybe I'll miss you, or maybe I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
That's right.
At Dynamite. Maybe.
That's right.
But if not, I'll miss you guys.
Hey, everyone, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody who listens to the show each week. We'll talk to you on It's Still Real to Me next weekend. See you guys.